Welcome back, dear viewers. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Hala Kuwait on KTV2, the family channel. And I'm pleased now to be joined by our distinguished guest in the studio and a dear friend of the show, of course, Mr. Ahmad Alromaidheen, who is an aerospace engineer. Good evening, Ahmad.
Good evening.
And thank you for joining us once again, Ahmad. We have a lot to cover, especially with the recent activities in the celestial world, yeah?
All right. First, thank you for having me, as always. Yeah, there's a major event happened early this month.
So what is that event? Can you tell us about it?
Early this month, 1st of April, we had a really distinguished space mission happen. Something that didn't happen in a while. About 53 years ago, that was the last time human actually left near Earth orbit.
Wow.
And we did that with the Artemis space program, or the Artemis 2 mission, to be exact. That happened. We sent human near the moon, left Earth orbit, and they circled around the moon.
Why do you think it took so long? You mentioned over 50 years. Why do you think that it took that long of a duration?
There's a lot of reason, financial, political, no incentive anymore. Financially, the space program, any space program is really expensive. And the moon space program is more expensive than anything, right, because especially when it's crewed, you have to have people that you make sure of their safety and coming back alive. And that takes a lot of finance. And so once we didn't have clear goals, or we didn't have enough technology to accomplish those goals, we had less than incentive to go back there financially and politically. It happened in the late 60s, the whole 60s, early 70s. The country that landed on the moon, America, accomplished that goal, won the space race against its counterpart, back then the Soviets. And so they felt like that they won the race. There's not much incentive. And they need to cut on the budget, among other reasons.
Yeah. So back to this mission then, I believe it's called the Artemis. What is different about this mission?
The difference, back in the 60s and 70s, it's called the Apollo space program.
Yeah.
The most famous one.
We are showing these images. Maybe you can even tell us what we're seeing. Is that part of it?
Yeah, that's part of it. There are some images of Earthrise that took by the Apollo 8 mission.
Right.
That was the first human to ever leave Earth orbit and orbit the moon. They actually orbit the moon. Artemis, which happened early this month, we didn't orbit. We did circulate, kind of make a semicircle around the moon, and then we did a maneuver to go back to Earth. But we actually, as a human, we went further than Earth more than any other time in history, further than even the whole Apollo program. So there was that. There's a lot of difference between the Apollo significance was in how the first time humans actually were near the surface of the moon. They didn't land. They just want to flight test the thing. The most famous one is Apollo 11, when they actually landed on the moon, but 8 was just testing the technology back then. Right. Same thing happened right now with Artemis 2. Right now they're testing the new technology. This is the first time they did it crewed. And another significant difference is the number of the astronauts is 4 right now, before it was 3. And this time there's a woman, and it's more diverse. Like those people of ethnicity actually went there. And it's kind of like a joint mission, because one of them has a Canadian citizenship.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe you touched on this, but you can expand. But this space program, can you expand on it? Tell us the objectives of it. What is its long-term goal? These things, please.
In general, we need to expand in human presence in space. We did that a lot around near Earth orbit. The space station since the 2000, the space shuttle program, which was after the Apollo.
Yes.
And it did really well. We had a couple of disasters, like the Challenger and Columbia, one in '86 and one in 2003. But you know, everything takes risk. And the space shuttle didn't go as planned. It went over budget. It had, like I said, some incident. But that technology, from that mission or that program, we use that technology for the SLS, which is right now the Space Launch System, which is the what the Artemis is using.
Yes.
The space launch vehicle that's using. It's all technology from the space shuttle. So it didn't go to waste. We learned from everything. So there's that. And I think, yeah, that's the thing. The goal, yeah, your question about the goal, what's why we want to expand. We need to have humans because we have autonomous missions, missions that doesn't have a human in it. We actually went far away beyond the solar system, like the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, which was launched in the 70s. We also went to Pluto, New Horizon. So we discovered the solar system, outside the solar system, and we still do. We still need more information, of course, but there's something magic about being human, being there, not just a machine or a camera or a sensor that takes all the information and sends it back to us.
So for the Artemis 1, can you just tell us more information about it? When did it happen, and what exactly did they achieve during that mission?
Artemis is a mission from, it's a mission of the Artemis space program. Space program in general, like they're aiming for 5 missions.
Right.
So right now the one we just had this month was Artemis 2. The first one that had crewed human astronaut in it. The first one was in 2022, a few years ago. And they just want to do testing to the machine, the program itself, the vehicle. They want to see if everything goes all right. They want to test it, hard test it, see if there's any problem, they can fix it. Because, you know, you don't want to discover all this while they are human. You can fix it when they are, like, the risk is less when there's no human. You also asked earlier, what's the difference in the speed of things? Back in the days, in the 60s or 70s, the space race was really competitive.
Yeah, it happened rapidly compared to now.
Because everyone was, you know, trying to achieve first orbit, first launch, first satellite, first. They tried to collect all the medal, let's just say. Like all
the history, basically.
Yeah, right now, there is a space race right now, but let's just say it's more expanded in a larger period of time. So, and America has, like, the first step since they did it already. So they have more time to accomplish their goals right now. So since they have a lot of goals, they don't want to take a risk that they don't really need. So it's better to do it safe and take your time while doing it. Safety first.
So you touched on the Apollo and the Artemis. I'd like you to talk more about the comparisons between them. Is it fair to say that the Apollo is an extension of, or the Artemis is an extension of the Apollo? It is.
It is. Every program is an extension to the other one. Like there was the Gemini before the Apollo, and other programs. Like every mission you make, you learn something of it, and it will help everyone, not just the nation that conducted that experiment or that mission. Even other nation can learn from that. Like basically, it's for all mankind. That's
for all humanity. Basically.
For all humanity. That's kind of like the phrase that everyone is using, even in fiction. Yeah, the Artemis learned a lot from the Apollo. After the Apollo was the space shuttle. After the space shuttle, right now we have the Artemis. We also have the International Space Station. Every knowledge we collected from all those missions helps in the most current mission. You asked about the differences. That was the first part of the question. Let's talk a little technical about the differences. Like in the Apollo, the mission takes 2 weeks. It's really small. It doesn't have a lot of technology. Most of the things were analog. The sensors were limited. There's not enough sensor. Even the computer, there was only one computer in the Apollo, the flight computer, and it just gives data. And then the astronaut has to adjust the flight according to that. Where right now, the sensor can guide the system autonomously. without any interference from the astronauts, so they can focus on more important thing, and the risk will be less. And it's a redundant system. Back then they had only one computer. Right now they have two computers. Computers can do everything from sensory, recording, flight maneuver, and there's two computers, like I said earlier, and that computer has two hearts in it, or two modules. So basically you have 4 backups. So if anything goes wrong, you have another backup. Like an incident in Apollo 11, when they landed, the only computer, which everyone, like everyone was talking about, like how the computing power in that computer was less than your calculator, let alone your phone.
Right.
Okay, so it jammed when they were landing. It has so much information, it just jammed, it sent an error, so they did everything manually because it just overwhelmed with all this information. Right now, we don't have this problem. We have 4 computers, even if one of them jammed for any reason, it still can go on. And the capacity of the computing power right now is more than what we need. So we're safe in that, in the computing technical stuff. Another thing, we become better as a human in making materials. So most of the things back then were heavy. Right now they are stronger, more efficient, and lighter. So you can put more cargo in the space mission, in the space capsule, and the spaceship, basically. And because of that, they can make the capsule bigger, and they did. Now it can fit 4 people. Back then it was 3 people, and they were jammed to each other. There's no privacy, there's no noise reduction, which affected the performance of the astronauts. Like imagine if you're in a settings for 2 weeks without proper sleep.
Fatigue hits in, right?
Yeah, and then they didn't have any place where they can work out because, you know, it's microgravity right now. The muscles just degrade. Even for 2 weeks, it affects them. Right now, they actually have space where they can work out to strengthen their muscle. Like another thing is like they have right now their private place where they can go to the bathroom, not like before. So so
it was much more intimate, maybe.
Yes, and like, you know, they have to do it like in bags or something like that. But right now they have like privacy and
crazy.
And that's when they the technology that they used for that was actually from the Space International, the ISS.
That takes a mental toll, I think, not just physical, right?
It does. And right now, because of that, you can bring more diverse crew. It's not just going to be like only males or something like that. You can even bring people who are not like, for example, in the army or like toughened with their mission back then. You can bring like normal civilian and they still can do it. So
tested mentally, of course, they need to be tough for that, right?
Of course, you know, it takes as they always say, like it takes a hero to be an astronaut, you know? It's a mission. It's
because if you're not mentally tough, it might feel like a prison at some point.
It does.
I'm trying to imagine and have like empathy and imagine how that might feel. It might really become like a prison at some point if you're stuck there and not being able to do basic private things, you know?
Exactly. So right now they have more room, more place to, you know, take rest, because the mission actually increased 1 more week. Before it was only 14 days, 2 weeks. Right now it's 21 days, so it's 3 weeks. So they expand on that too. And also, other like minor technology things, like back then they used to have all their power with them generated. Right now they have solar panels, so even if there's like that's less cargo and more reliable source of power for their equipment.
So a little follow-up to that, you mentioned about the computers, and that's a comparison, a notable comparison. Do you have any idea if they implemented, you know, everybody's talking about AI now. Do you think they implemented, and if so, how did they use it?
I'm sure they do. Usually it's an analysis of the data. Like also, like when I said earlier about how the Apollo, they used to get the information and then they have to act upon it. Right now it's autonomous. So that's like, you know, part of the AI system. It can, like the computer can guide and take control of the capsule and does its thing. And that's
amazing.
That's why in Artemis 1, when they tested it, it was all autonomous. There were no human in it. And they tested the machine and it worked perfectly. And if they find anything that they can expand on it, make it like, you know, better performing, they did that. And so right now, in the Artemis space program, we finished Artemis 1, Mission 1, and Mission 2. Artemis 1, Artemis 2. So the next one will be Artemis 3.
Well, Ahmed, it's very compelling, of course, and we have so many questions to get to, but of course we do have to take a short break and pause here, as we do have a report to show our dear viewers watching at home. Let's watch it together, dear viewers, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back, dear viewers, and I'm pleased to be joined once again with our guest in the studio, Mr. Ahmad Alromaidheen, who's an aerospace engineer. Now, we were talking about the Artemis, Ahmad, and we'd like to ask you now, about the names of these space programs. What can you tell us about the etymology of them, maybe?
Yeah, that's actually very interesting, and a lot of people love this topic, the mythology behind it. Usually when they name celestial objects, it's on Roman culture, Greek culture, something like this, like the planets and places in the solar system. And they did that kind of, not always, they did that with the missions.
Right.
So we have Apollo and Artemis. Since Apollo and Artemis in mythology, the Roman and the Greek mythology, they are twins. They are the son of Zeus, who got it from Leto. And the poetry in this is, one of them is the god Apollo, the god of the sun. So he's more into the daytime, civilization, light, and they're both hunter, by the way. They use bows and arrow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always interesting, of course, and it has a huge history. What about the actual emblem? Maybe before air we were talking about there has some hints on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Apollo is kind of like Apollo and Artemis were twins, right? So Apollo was the crew were all males when it happens in the 60s and the 70s. Right now we have female in the crew. So Artemis is kind of like the goddess. So it's kind of like the female present in this program, and she is the goddess of the moon. Since Apollo is the goddess of the sun, he is a goddess.
Yeah, this is their mythology.
Like you want the poetry of it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The poetry of it is like one of them is like the capsule inside. Like in the Apollo, they just call it capsule, and in the Artemis, it's Orion. Orion usually is the only man in the stories that actually worked with Artemis in hunting. So it's kind of like there's a poetry on that. Also, the poetry in the mythology is they weren't supposed to be born on Earth, so they had to make an exception, and they were landing in something in the mythology, like in a land beyond land. So in missions, we're leaving Earth, we're going to the moon. So there's a poetry in that. So, and both of them are related to the moon, and they are twins. And the
Does it
program
have
was
anything
similar.
to do with Mars?
We can talk about the logo. Yes, the ultimate goal of the mission is to kind of like we wet our toes before we go to swim to go to Mars. Yes,
like
and then you can see this actually like in the logo, or like the thing that they can put on their patch in their mission, the astronaut. And the Apollo 8, it was kind of like the infinity sign. Also looks like 8. Also it describes the orbit, like they're taking, the maneuver that they're going to use. With Artemis, they did something similar. Like you can see an A, so it's kind of like a triangle, and it's pointing beyond the moon. There's the moon in the logo. It's slightly higher than the moon. It's kind of like a hint saying like our ultimate goal is not just pointing out to the moon. We're going to use the knowledge in this mission and our expertise in this mission to go further. Further, the next step would be Mars. And you can see that even like in the orbit that they make, it's kind of like orangey red, a hint going to Mars. And they actually stated that in their official press. And you can see like there's a blue curve which resemble Earth. And yeah, so basically that's, they put that in mind. So it's in their agenda to do that.
Amazing. So it's like things to come, basically.
Right.
So, Ahmed, you talked about, the Apollo, the Artemis 1, 2. What about 3? What will happen there?
Yes, the next step in this group of missions, but like we stated earlier, this is called the Artemis Space Program, and it compiled of 5 missions in general, among other things, but like 5 main missions. So we just finished Artemis, finished in 2022 Artemis 1, this year Artemis 2, and Artemis 3, possibly, because everything might change, is in 2027, so next year, maybe late next year. This time they're not gonna go to the moon. Artemis 1 and 2 actually left Earth orbit and went to the moon. This time, the private sector will play a really big role.
Right.
Yes, and NASA is contracting with big companies. Of course, I'm pretty sure people heard of those companies, SpaceX, and Blue Origin. People might know it through Amazon, Amazon.com. So, like, you know, that's the company that they made the website that everyone buy their stuff from. So they did a contract with them. They want to land on the moon this time, right? They were initially wanted to do it in Artemis 3, but then again, they're not in a hurry. They're still ahead. The competition is not that far away, but it's not as close as it was in right now we're technically kind of in a Cold War, but like let's just say the first Cold War in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s. So right now they have more time not to take like really unnecessary risks.
Right.
So what they did is right now, NASA focused on the launch system and the capsule, Orion. The launch system that propel Orion to be on orbit or go to the moon and come back. They didn't focus on the lander, the one that will take astronaut to the surface of the moon, which is, they're aiming to do this in Artemis 4. They delayed it. It was scheduled to be in Artemis 3, but they wanted to do it right now in 4. So 3, this time, 2027, they want to test all that near Earth orbit.
Right.
Both companies, they're going to send their modulus, the lander, in orbit, and they have to perform and show to NASA that they can refill it, because it's going to be a big modulus, and they need to have a lot of fuel right now, because they're going to do, it's bigger crude, bigger cargo, bigger samples they're going to do. They're going to conduct more scientific experiments, so they need to have a bigger modulus. So they're going to test refueling, which will be, by the way, the first time those big spaceships will refuel each other in history. So that's scheduled in 2027. Once any of this company, or both hopefully, can demonstrate that, then they have to rendezvous with NASA's vehicle, which is the Orion capsule. The Orion capsule, then it will rendezvous with both, hopefully both, not just one, both vehicle, and they will test it. They will test it on Earth. So if something goes wrong, they can go back again. Not something got to do with the moon.
Right. Now we do have to take this quick break, and we'll pause there. We'll be right back, dear viewers, after this. Stay tuned.